Well, between the extreme cold and some snow and ice, cattle markets have been through quite a lot. So Derrell, January just wrapped up. You know, looking at February, how are things looking now for cattle markets?
You know, January was rough because coming out of the holidays, there's always a little bit of uncertainty on cattle markets and beef markets. And then we fell right into that, you know, cold weather with disruptions all the way from obviously out in the country. Producers faced a lot of management challenges through that. But, you know, we had packing plants that closed a little bit and you know, disruptions in the flow of the pipeline of beef, if you will. As we finished up January, it looks like we pretty much have that all kind of behind us. So markets are kind of getting their bead now. And actually, you know, markets finished pretty strong at the end of January.
Well, a few weeks ago, we did a segment and we got to enjoy the extremely cold weather and the wind. So how did all that weather impact cattle markets, you know, in full?
Well, you know, again, there were those short-term disruptions, and so we did see some immediate impacts, but longer term, the tail on this thing will be really at the feedlot level. You know, those winter weather impacts will play out over the next several weeks in terms of the lost performance of those feedlot cattle. Carcass weights have come down. They will probably continue to be impacted going forward. So there will certainly be some residual impacts of this weather, even if we don't have any additional winter weather as we go forward.
So has all that changed your outlook for cattle markets just in general?
You know, it really hasn't. I mean, you know, we're in, you know, longer term, we're in a tight supply situation. We did see a fairly big correction in feeder cattle and live cattle, especially on the future side late last year. But now we're, you know, these markets are consolidating, they're gaining strength, and I think we're going to be back on track. We're expecting to see higher average prices in 2024, and I think that's starting to build as we go forward.
So for cow-calf producers, which is obviously a big thing in this state, like what are some things that they can do to kind of maximize profit in 2024?
You know, we are expecting more profit potential from the revenue side with higher prices, but, you know, maximizing profit means managing costs too. And so one of the things that I encourage producers, even at this time of the year, it's early in the year, relatively speaking, but start planning that forage management this year, grazing plans, hay production. You know, it all comes down, I mean, that's the biggest component of cow-calf producers' cost is feed cost, and specifically the use of hay and so on. So you can minimize that if you do some planning now for the summer and fall and set up your grazing plans so that you don't need as much hay and you can make the best use of it.
Because of course, like we've gotten a lot of moisture and rain and snow and ice in the state, so it's the forage prospects could be shaping up, but things can change pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, obviously going forward, we do look pretty good right now. We're, you know, basically getting the El Nino impacts that we were sort of promised coming into this, but we also know that that can change, and certainly as we go into the grazing season and through the summer, we'll have to continue watching that going forward.
All righty, thanks, Derrell. Dr. Derrell Peel, Livestock Marketing Specialist here at Oklahoma State University.